Okay. Well,
Hey, hello everybody.
welcome. I'm John.
I'm Jacob.
This is the Heimer.
Yeah.
We got the camper.
Yep. We are. This is the 1960 Forte.
Yes, and this is the official setting of the Heimer.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe sometime we could do a tour or something for everybody to see.
Behind the scenes of the Heimer, yeah.
Yeah. But you kind of get a sense. You can kind of feel the 1960 a little bit.
The vibe of the place.
Yeah.
The warmth of the 60s.
Yeah. Lots of wood. Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun doing our podcast about happiness.
Yes. I was hearing a lot of good stuff about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting a lot of good feedback.
Good.
Which felt good.
Good. Yeah. But today it's a bit different.
Today's a bit, a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Also a very big topic, but. It's super fun to talk about, and that's, of course, you all saw in the title, we're talking about space.
Space. The final frontier.
Have you ever watched those like YouTube videos about size comparisons of planets and solar systems, or have you seen those at all?
I haven't seen YouTube videos, but I've seen a couple, different graphics of just our planets and maybe some of the bigger stars as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are your YouTube videos?
Well, like if you just put in planet sizes, or I think there's some of them that are like star sizes, they're just fascinating because I personally think when you start talking about space, what a big roadblock is that we can't fathom the size in the space. Like
it's very hard to grasp the
Yes.
concept of how big everything is, even just our sun.
Yeah, I mean, just all the distances. I mean, even within our solar system, it's huge. I mean, it's just so vast, and I don't know, I just kind of struggle with that.
Right, it takes like 8 days to get to our moon.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's about that.
I know that the light from our sun is about 8 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we're seeing past light from the sun.
Yeah. In the same regard, when we look in the night sky, many people have said this, you're not really seeing the night sky as it is now because the distances are so great. You're seeing it as it was possibly millions of years ago.
Yes, and each individual star has its own history.
Right.
Never seen millions of years ago, or maybe even 12 years ago. What is our closest star besides the sun?
I don't know for sure the name. I think Vega is pretty close, but I think it's 4 light years away.
4 light years, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about your life 4 years ago, and that's the sun. That's the light that was coming off of the.
Yeah, that's whoa, what? Yeah. And the ability to like travel 4 light years, like I feel like when you start talking about galaxies and everything, like Cat's Eye Nebula and all these different Eagle's Nest Nebula or whatever it's called, like it's usually like millions of light years. And then to think about our neighbor, our closest system being 4 light years, like at first I think, wow, only 4, great, it's not 100 million or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
But it's like how fast light travels. It's 4 years for that.
Yeah. A lot of people, I don't know about a lot, some people get confused and they think light year is a measurement of time, and it's not. It's a measurement of distance, and that, I think it can throw some people off, some of the general public, a little bit.
How might they interpret that as time?
I think just because year isn't the name of it, to say a light year. But it's very much just the distance, like you were saying, the distance that light can travel. But, to think of, we're just 8 minutes from our sun, to think about how many 8 minutes go into one of our years. you think about light traveling that much,
Mm-hmm.
is how that's 1 light year. Now our nearest neighbor is 4 light years, so it's a whole lot of 8 minute
Yes, on how
intervals.
fast, how far away our sun is, and it only takes only 8 minutes, compared to 4 years of that same speed.
Yeah, yeah. So the distance from us to the sun is also called an astronomical unit, an AU,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm kind of making this up, but I feel like Pluto might be like 40 AUs or something away as a point of comparison. I might be
Yeah,
wrong
I
on
don't
that.
know.
Yeah,
That'd be good to. That's maybe we can have a little tidbit of information about that.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, here's another. Can I tell you about another thing I've been interested
Sure.
in?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so on distances, we've known about this Oort cloud around sort of the outskirts of our solar
An
system.
orc.
Oort.
Ort. Okay.
OORT. Um, and I'm not totally sure, but maybe one of those Viking ship probes that we sent out in the 70s. I
Mm-hmm.
think those were the Viking. I think Vikings have passed Pluto. I don't know if you. I mean, there's stunning pictures of Pluto at this point that we've taken.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of like maybe it was at Pluto looking at the Earth, looking
Yeah,
back towards the home
yeah,
planet.
yeah. How about that for perspective? Yes, yeah,
And we did that was seen very far away, so I mean it could be the 40 AUs you were talking
yeah, yeah. It'd be hard. Yeah.
about. Okay, so more about this Ort? Ort?
Ort.
Okay,
Yeah, with
yeah.
the T at the end. I don't know what's out there. I think there's some dwarf planets. I've read about a couple of names.
And this is an area beyond our own solar system. So is it still within the gravitational pull of the sun?
I don't quite understand that because there's something called the heliopause around outside of Pluto somewhere, which is basically the boundary of our solar system. I always thought of basically what things were controlled by our sun. So I don't understand the Oort cloud if it is more of just like free floating dwarf planets and kind of asteroids and stuff like that.
That's what they call it, a cloud. What, like
Yeah.
cloud of particles or a cloud of these dwarf planets?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what's out there. I mean, I'm not sure anyone really does, but I don't even know what the theory is exactly.
Okay. So it's just it's a hazy image that they see, maybe through a telescope.
Maybe so. Yeah. Yeah. And it seems to be they're thinking it also, everybody says this about everything in space, but that it's very, very vast. Like it might be many times greater in size than the distance, say, from the sun to Pluto. But they don't know. We haven't. These ships have sort of just started getting out into those regions, but they're almost not communicating anymore. Is what
The probes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking Viking. Is that right? The one.
Voyager is another one.
Oh, Voyager, I think is maybe what I meant. Viking went to Venus or something. Voyager, might be. Yeah. Whatever the name is. I
Something
mean,
with a V.
this is.
And it's 60s, 70s. They sent it out there.
Yeah. It's so great. I'm glad
It's
they
past
did.
Pluto
Right?
now and maybe into this Oort.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is crazy though, that it can still every now and then we get some sort of pulse and it's, hey, I'm still living and I'm traveling.
Yeah. Yep. So there's one called New Horizons, which is a more modern one. I forget when they sent that. That's out somewhere or near Pluto, I think. And or maybe it broke out through the heliopause. But one of the things that they said about this heliopause is that it's not just a sort of like an event horizon or something. It's not just a spot where the gravitational pull doesn't exist anymore. It's actually a bit of a barrier, is a theory that they've got. That one or two of these probes have now sent back information somebody please correct me on this if I'm wrong. I mean, there's who knows, but I was just hearing that they think it could be a little bit more plasma based. It's almost a little bit like a membrane, this heliopause spot, um, because they ran into some sort of some sort of resistance at that point, that
Yeah, I wonder if there's some sort of either dark matter or maybe there is some sort of gravitational field right there.
Yeah, maybe that's, yeah, I don't know, but pretty neat to think about too.
Yeah, that we could be surrounding just outside of our solar system. There's something right there.
Yeah, what I saw was that it was like blocking 70% of the cosmic radiation that would have otherwise been getting into our solar system, this barrier of whatever type. And so that it's really important.
Oh.
It's a little bit like the ozone protecting Earth. It is protecting
solar system ozone. Huh.
Yeah.
All the deep space radiation coming in.
Yeah. Maybe even comets and other stuff. I don't really know. But
oh
yeah. I don't think they really know, but that's kind of interesting too.
So some of the bigger comets, do you know their trajectories around? Is that, like, let's say Halley's Comet, is that just within our own solar system? Like, is it just the sun's gravity that we're doing some sort of parabolic path around the sun?
I think,
or does it actually does it go out towards the end of our solar system and back in?
I think it's got to stay connected to the pole of our sun, or else it wouldn't be cyclical. Is the way I would think about it. If it was somehow leaving that, it wouldn't be consistently like Halley's Comet's 83 years or something like that. That's what my guess would be, but I don't know. I mean, that's quite a while, 83 years. I don't know what it's doing. What's it doing right now? Halley's Comet, where are you?
Why don't we should put a little probe on it and just
have
a Halley's tracker.
Yeah. Free fuel, not fuel, but free transportation.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, just put a probe on it and let it go to the outside, and then we'll kick off whatever rockets.
Yeah.
Send it out.
Yeah. A little bit like the slingshot. Have you heard about this? I'm going off track a little bit now, but they've gotten better with using planets and moons as slingshot to help propel ships. So like they've gotten, I think the idea now, like getting to Mars, you actually use the gravity of the moon to shoot you some and save fuel. So you can basically time it so that you can buzz the moon and get kind of whipped and shot more directly towards Mars.
So there's they're using the energy that gravity creates to propel a probe or something further to Mars.
Yeah, just to save fuel, maybe time. I don't know. I don't know for sure if they're doing that now, but that's.
I know they always take a couple laps around the Earth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, look at us, huh?
Well, yeah. When they send stuff out, they take a couple laps, and each one, I think they hit their burners at a certain area, and it kind of shoots us into a different trajectory, and at some point they just maybe burn it all and slingshots us out.
Huh.
And so maybe it's a similar thing. Maybe we take a couple laps around the Earth, go to the moon, a couple more laps, and then slingshot. We're just doing these dances around different objects.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could almost weave what is that? What's the word with planets for when there's a total alignment? What's the scientific word? It escapes me. It's something about. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's not alignment. There's a more specific word.
Yeah.
And it's like.
I'm not sure I've ever heard that word.
Yeah, it's like if you count Pluto, I know it's a dwarf planet, but there's something about like when all 9 of them align, it's like.
Well, how often does that happen?
Yeah, right, exactly. Not to mention that.
They probably call it like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Also, what does that do to any sort of gravitational pull? I've got another thing on that.
That's interesting. Because everybody's, I mean, forces are always pulling against each other and towards each other, equal and opposite reactions, right? And so,
Yeah.
what if all of them are lined up? Is there actually enough to kind of maybe push Earth just a little bit out of alignment when that happens?
Yeah, maybe so.
Because now we're being pulled maybe towards Jupiter, which also has a lot of mass
Yeah.
gravitational pull.
Yeah.
Maybe someone we're all in line.
Yeah. Well, does that never impact our? I'll show my ignorance even more here. Does that ever impact like weather or temperatures? So like, we're talking about global warming a lot in this world now. Like, could it ever be that like, I'm sure they've checked all these things, but like, if Jupiter's opposite of the sun from us, we're going to pull a little bit stronger towards the sun.
Yeah, and warm up just a little bit.
Just
more.
a little bit. I don't know.
And does it all balance itself out because we're all rotating and pulling each other, and so maybe
Right.
Jupiter pulls a lot when like the sun's here and it's pulling here, but then the Jupiter comes around and we all line up again and it pulls us back. So maybe it's
Yeah.
just this constant.
I guess not with global warming because it's so recent. Like, it's so easy to track that the temperatures have gone up. Like, the last 30 years, we've broken pretty much every record, and
Right.
like,
Yeah. Jupiter's not just hanging out there for 30 years, pulling us a little bit closer,
right.
being a little jerk out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough stuff with that planet. I mean, it's massive, Jupiter. Like, I think, I know Ganymede, its biggest moon, one of the Galilean moons, is bigger than Mercury. It's bigger than a planet. One of
The
Jupiter's
moon's is bigger than a planet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the one that we think has water on it?
A lot of people say Europa.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I think it does. I think they're pretty sure it does. But another interesting one
Okay, yeah, go on.
is I think it's the smallest of those four Galilean. By the way, it's amazing that Galileo in whatever 1550 was naming moons around Jupiter. I think that's so awesome.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I found you.
You know, everybody's like, you're crazy, man. You're not seeing anything there. But,
Was he the one that invented the telescope? Was it Galileo?
I don't know. Maybe the more modern version of it or something.
That's
Not
true.
sure.
They probably did have maybe he made it maybe more powerful.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the history of telescopes
Hmm.
really, but that's a good question. But I know Io, the smallest of those four Galilean moons, is extremely icy and desolate. So icy as in frozen water,
Yeah.
but it's also very volcanic. So some people like to play around with the idea of those regions in which you have volcanoes erupting, and they know they've actually had profile pictures of the surface of Io where they can see the plumes
Oh.
coming off the surface. It's that big.
Wow.
But at some point, you have all the heat from inside the moon mixing with the frozen water. You're probably going to have liquid water, and there must be regions not too close to these volcanoes, but not too far.
Some sort of Goldilocks area
Yeah,
that might be livable because of the volcanoes.
yeah. Still doesn't sound like a great, great place to look for on Zillow or something.
No, it's like, yeah.
I can, freeze at horribly cold temperatures or be in a volcano.
Right. You'd probably want some sort of camper so you can move. Like, oh, this volcano's not erupting so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move over where Jim is.
Yeah,
He was telling me that his volcano was perfect.
yeah, yeah. In seriousness too, that made me. I was joking about Zillow, but what about this idea that people have? I don't know if this is serious, but people are trying to see if they can buy property on the moon.
You know,
What do you think of
I
that?
haven't heard that.
Well, I mean, if that happened,
But if somebody
or
could
what do you
actually do that, if like legally, it's like, yeah, you can. But who would you buy it from?
That was funny. Who would you want? Right. Somebody should take that.
Maybe you should just claim it, Jacob. This is my moon. Everybody that would like to purchase property on the moon, come to me. I'll give you your official documents.
Oh. Kind of like Manifest Destiny across the U.S. Like, you know, a lot of Europeans were like, hey, check it out. Oklahoma. You know, you can, anybody who wants to move here can, and the natives were all like, eh? Like, who, why did you decide
Right.
that?
Yeah, people are going out there with stakes and they're staking out their own. They're just saying, hey, this is mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd want to be on the shores of the Sea of Tranquility, I think, just because of that name is so cool.
Where's that at?
I don't know, it's one of the bigger craters on the moon.
No, okay.
I don't know, it just sounds cool, the Sea of
Yeah.
Tranquility.
Yeah. But so you're not actually within the crater, you'd want to be looking out over it?
Yeah, that's what I call it, the shore.
Right, the shore. So the shore is the upper part of the crater.
Yeah, probably it's called the rim.
The rim, sure.
That's normally functioning people. Or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But probably it's a slippery slope to be buying and selling real estate on the moon, right?
Well, yeah, so if it was you, you would have to enforce it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, well, maybe space will become a military
Some
issue.
space wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe so. Well, great. There's another endeavor for us, our species to undertake.
Okay, so let's say there was somebody that you would buy land from.
Okay.
Is this a universal thing? Is this across country that everybody recognizes that yes, you do own this land on the moon?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. Like, Antarctica is completely protected from that. There's a peace treaty signed. It's not owned by any one country. It's, you know, you can't. But if the moon was just privatized and you could buy it, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's.
So you I guess, yeah, you would have to colonize an area, and then perhaps somebody could, you would transport people up there and they could purchase part of your colony.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. You would want people to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you a little safer. You add your pods to the moon base or
Yeah,
whatever.
imagine pods, yeah.
Yeah. And, sounds expensive though. I mean.
To get your pods up there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
It sounds like it should be more of a scientific, and just like Antarctica, it's mainly used for science and
Yeah.
drilling core samples.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really. Also, there's this huge fairness issue where, like, you don't want the U.S. and England and France and Russia and Germany and China and India to control the moon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's. I mean, it's sort of a clean slate for our species in a way to say, like, oh,
Well, it's a colony from the world, right? So just like the U.S. was a colony, is for some reason that we just go out there and make our own laws.
Yeah. Then there would probably be all sorts of taxes and travel issues and regulation.
Right. And we'd be trying to send tea up there, for example.
Yeah. People could peddle, you know, clean oxygen tanks
Yeah.
or something. And, yeah.
And so, if this is happening, it's probably going to be a colony of the super wealthy, because
Yeah.
who else can afford to go up there?
Yeah. Well, maybe in some ways that would make our world better. maybe, maybe let them all be up
So
there.
the 1%, the 1%ers all go to the moon.
Yeah. Then we just kind of, you know, no.
We can sell them tea.
Yeah. Mark up prices.
Yeah, we
Things like
tax
underwear and socks and stuff.
We really tax the tea.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's probably not a serious, or maybe it's a couple hundred years away from. I'm not really sure where that argument is at, or that discussion.
Yeah, I don't know about the moon, but the Mars, that's a thing, right? We're going there.
Yeah.
We're gonna set up something.
Why Mars and not the moon? I mean, why not start with a moon,
Yeah, you
permanent
would
moon
think
base?
the moon base would be a easier target.
Way to sort of practice, and you could get back if.
I have heard plans of the moon, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know why the Mars. Like maybe because there may be evidence of past life on Mars.
Yeah.
They may be able to find water there,
Yeah.
and we maybe know for a fact that the moon just doesn't have any water, just because of
Right.
our past our missions up there.
Yeah. Well, I think Mars has water. I mean, frozen water. I mean, it has polar caps. I've seen
Yeah.
the pictures. I'm pretty sure that's frozen water. I don't know. It might not. There might be something about it that's not usable or something.
I think they've found evidence of water, right? So these polar caps, they've also seen just what looks like a water carved valley
Yeah.
that would maybe spill out into some sort of lake area.
Yeah.
We've seen kind of the similar erosion
Yeah.
patterns that we see here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's why. Maybe they think that there's some sort of terraforming that they could do in order
Yeah.
to. Yeah, that just seems like a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Yeah. I feel like space issues always come back to sort of environmentalism because, like, the more you talk about it's really cool to talk about space. I love it, but like when you really start thinking about it and these projects, like building a base on Mars or something, it comes back to like this is our best chance. This planet,
Mm-hmm.
it's way cheaper, way more doable to just take care of the planet we're on. It's probably our only hope.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so let's try not to destroy this one so we don't have to actually send all these resources away
Yeah.
to Mars. I mean, it does seem like a backup plan, right, for the human race
Yeah.
to try to go to another planet.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think we should. I mean, we waste a ton of money on war and all sorts of not right things on this
That would be
planet.
great if we could just stop. Hey, everybody stop fighting. We're going to spend
Yeah.
all this money on going to Mars.
I think we could do it within a couple years. I mean, I think we have the engineers and we have most of the technology. We just don't have.
We would have even more technology. We would have to invent so much to survive there.
Yeah. Well, it used to be, at least this is what I've always heard, like in the 50s and 60s, NASA was inventing all these things that we use today. Things, I don't know, like I'm just making this one up, but like tire technology for our cars or whatever, and like NASA was just right at the forefront, but they haven't had as much funding, and so they're not fully funded. And
that foam, the memory foam, I believe that was a NASA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we have comfier beds because of that.
Yeah, that matters.
Mm-hmm. It does. Sleep's very important.
Yeah. I don't know, I just love to see if like our whole. I realize in the 50s it was a lot of like beating the Russians or whatever to space, but whatever
How fun is that though to compete like that?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe there can be a little healthy competition, where
I think that's great to have competition
yeah.
like that. I mean, it brings everybody together. Yeah, it could go wrong where you start thinking of your competition as the enemy.
Yeah.
Which hopefully doesn't go there, but
Yeah.
hopefully it can be some sort of nice competition.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'd just be cool if we were way more invested in science and in general, but yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get there. It's just taking a lot longer. I feel like when Obama became president, that was a thing, and it was like, I want to say it was 2030. I feel like, I know politicians say all sorts of stuff, but I feel like he was saying, or his administration was saying something like, by 2030, there'll be humans walking on the surface of Mars.
I can see that.
Could you see it in 9 years to get there? I mean, it's possible.
A lot can happen. 9 years, 10 years, a lot can happen in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we already sent. I mean, we have rovers on Mars actually looking for elements and water specifically, so they can create hydrogen so they can create rocket fuel so they can get back to Earth, humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, wow, maybe that'll happen. That'd be great. Yeah. I don't know. I'm all for it. I'd
Even
love.
if we don't find water, I still think we're gonna go there. I still think we're gonna send out some sort of unmanned mission out there that has fuel, and then we'll send the human mission out there, and they can use that fuel that's already there to get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just so that we can say that we did it. We were there.
There's certainly a element of that, right? Just to be able to say there's something in our human nature to explore, and a little bit of conquest in there too, and to say we did it,
I mean, it's the mystery of what's out there and what we can gain from that mystery.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not what we set out to do in the first, maybe we never colonize Mars, but we're going to learn so much in the process from that.
Well, how about, here's a very hypothetical. So what if you live in the U.S. Now? What if the U.S. government, say in 7 years, they do this whole analysis and they come to your doorstep and they say, you know where I'm going with this, they say, John, because of your intelligence and your health and everything you got going for you, you've got a spot to go on a deep space mission. Meaning,
Like to Mars?
No, I mean deep space.
Oh, deep space.
So,
Okay.
yeah, deep.
The Voyager or Viking, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That deep? Just to go out there?
I mean, like like they have in sci-fi movies where it's like it's a bigger ship that has the, the garden in it and all that would be intended for many, many generations to grow up and die and, everything on. And you would be leaving behind all your family and friends and everything on Earth, and would you go on such a mission? Basically with almost no chance of ever coming back.
And there's multiple people that are also going on this mission. And it's not, I mean, it's just a new way of life. Are you going to choose this new way of life out in space just to see what's out there?
Let's say 500 people.
It's 500 people are out there. And that we've figured out a way to maybe like grow plants, and we can consume plants in some way.
And there's water containment systems. You're recycling urine and all the things you're going to have to do in space. Yeah. So it's like all those components. Just imagine that's already, basically the ship is built, and they've got all the right people.
Everything's planned out. They're just asking me to go.
Yep. Maybe they've analyzed your DNA.
Yeah, I would want a tour of the ship.
That's hilarious. Check the furnace filter.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's great. Kick the tires.
Yeah. That is a hard question. I think my gut reaction is yes. I want to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
But thinking deeper, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really do probably have to kick the tires. Yeah. Well, what would you do?
I don't know. I'm a
yes or no? Let's say this government agency is giving you 30 seconds to make your decision.
No.
No? All right.
Yeah, if I don't have enough time to think about it, it's absolutely a no. That's just my personality type.
Okay. So you're not going to make a rash decision to completely change your life.
Yeah. I think, I have children.
That's probably good.
I mean, even in 7 to 10 years.
Let's say your children can come with you. How about let's say you can bring like 5 people.
Ooh,
it's you and 5 people.
To bring my cats? No. I'm just well, yeah, I wouldn't make a rash decision. If I could really bring the people I was closest to, and they all wanted to go, and it was a good setup. I would need, like you, I would need a lot more details. Like, to me, I would want to know, like, so I'm 45 now.
Mm-hmm.
How far would we have gotten by the time I'm 80? Like, what would I be seeing? basically.
Yeah. So
Basically, how rewarding is it
through
to
my
me?
life, what am I
Yes.
going to see?
Yeah,
Does
like a
it
little
work?
bit selfishly. Like, I'm honored you love my DNA.
Let's say you
It's
make
great.
a let's say you make a stop at every planet, at least.
Whoa, cool.
Um, you get as close as possible to the sun, so that maybe like it fills up at least the window. That's how close you are. That you're looking out. And then the rest of the planets maybe the same side, same way. Maybe you're able to get really close to Jupiter and almost like fly through the clouds. Maybe you have some sort of drone ship that you can, from maybe the mothership, some sort of drone ship that you can hop on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know. I'd have to see where my life was at and everything. For me, it would be loved ones that would be possibly holding me back. It wouldn't be a concern about
Yeah.
the ship, really. It wouldn't be. I mean, it would be the most historic thing that ever happened to humans, and maybe ever would happen. I mean, it would be a total honor to do it. The only hesitation is about loved ones.
Mm-hmm. So if you can bring your loved ones, you're fine. Like
I think
you
so.
can go for it.
I think so. I mean, yeah. I mean, right. I mean, I just feel like that's sort of the pinnacle of. Um, I mean, like it used to be like people would almost say like that would be like the closest you could get to God, basically. Like that's it becomes sort of a spiritual or this transformational thing more than just going on a ship in space.
Yeah. I think that would make a good movie. And maybe 5 years in, just how bored everybody is.
Yeah. Watching VHS movies.
Yeah.
And
It's the same movies because for some reason we can't send you guys anything.
Yeah. Happy Gilmore is a great movie,
Yeah.
but you can't watch it too many times.
And everybody has their own. You guys put on skits of Happy Gilmore because that's the only movie that works.
It becomes all contorted and like this whole.
Yeah.
Like, people are probably
There's
doing
a whole
like.
separate group that are like worshiping Adam Sandler.
Yeah, with hallucinogens.
Yeah.
They're growing shrooms
It's
in
like,
the
where'd
back
you
of
get
lockers
those?
or something. Yeah. Gosh. It could go down. Well, I mean, what about? So yeah, I'm 45. Like I'm going to be 80 in 35 years. So I'm not even sure. Like in my lifetime, I would get out of the solar system, right? Or do you get out of?
Well, let's say we come up with some sort of travel, like we can slingshot. Now we're really good at
Okay.
slingshotting.
Yeah.
We can really get to planets
Yeah,
within
yeah.
just months,
So maybe you could break through that heliopause.
and then break through. Yeah, I mean,
in like.
is it worth
5
it? What
years
if
or
what
something?
if right when you break through it, it's just like insta death. Like everything just blows up. You got to experience everything in the universe, in our solar system, and then you go for it, and
I mean, I maybe would still go for it because for me, I would be near my life expectancy. I'd
I know,
maybe
I
be
mean,
in
you
my
were-
80s or something.
that's true. And I mean, you were expecting to die on this ship,
Right. I'd rather.
and so might as
Well-
well see what's out there, right? Just go for
Oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. Now, if I was a 10-year-old, I mean, maybe we should interview a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old or somebody, a young person.
Well, what if people start reproducing?
Yeah, well, I think they would have to. Forced reproduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of the deal.
Forced reproduction. That'd be a good part of the movie too.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you'd want people. That's why the DNA would come into place to some degree. You would have to make sure there's enough variability
That's true. Yeah.
in the DNA. And then you'd have to have certain restrictions about, like, like maybe you're really attracted to this woman A, but honestly, she's, Scottish, Dutch,
Too close in DNA.
too close in DNA.
Ooh.
We're not going to allow it.
That's another great part of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. we're going.
Oh man, and you're forced to reproduce with somebody else, and you don't want to. And yeah, huh? That's interesting.
Well, everybody would be super attractive.
Oh, okay, that's a requirement.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. Not necessarily like attractive. I mean that's obviously subjective, but super healthy.
Healthy, yeah.
And
usually healthy is attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, I think we'd be several generations in before we were starting to maybe leave our solar system or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Or if you get on the ship when you're say 20, you might be. I'm just guessing at this math, but maybe you're 80 when you're leaving the solar system, or you're kind of through some of the Oort cloud or something, and it might be, I don't know, your great grandchildren that maybe can start to think about getting to that next solar system. I don't know what 4 light years means. I can't even begin to understand 4 light years.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap things up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe we can talk about that more. Some of these things a little bit more another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work.
Okay. All right.
Well, this has been great.
Yeah.
Talk about space.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, John.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I would also like to thank our executive producer, Schmidt.
Yes.
Always good to have them on board.
Yep. And our podcast team who's doing all the support behind the scenes.
All the technical and all, yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right.
All right.
Great. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.